Alright, hello everyone. Coach Aaron here. Welcome back to problem number 9 of reading my chess book. And so in this one it's going to be black to move. And so the first move is going to be the obvious one. This one is going to be queen to h4 check. Okay, just attacking the king. And the key of this problem is that the white king is stuck in the center. So anytime you have a king in the center, there are tactics everywhere. And we're going to see that play out beautifully in this problem. So queen h4 check. And here white does have some options, but white's going to go with bishop back to f2 first. This is the line that's given. And now after knight takes on f2, white's going to recapture with the queen on f2, and now black's just going to continue taking. Queen takes with check. Now king takes with check, and this is the point of the problem now that you have to see, is that now the rook is pinning the bishop up against the king because the king has been attracted to the f file where now the bishop is pinned, and it can be attacked now with bishop to g4. A good move, and here the author gives that white wins. It's pretty obvious the bishop's going to be lost next move, giving white a piece advantage going into the endgame. There's really not much that white can do here. We can't bring in the knight to defend the bishop. We're on the wrong squares. And then, of course, because the king is on f2, neither of the rooks can move to f1 to provide additional help. So next move, you can either take with the rook and give a check and go from there, or take with the bishop and create attacks against the rook and discovery tactics and all that kind of things. It'll just depend on what white decides to continue. And this is just a winning endgame. Let me go back just to see here. Obviously, white doesn't want to block with the queen. This is something that my students, my young elementary school students, might do initially, and not see that the bishop can also back and block. You always want to block with the smaller piece first, because in this case the knight's going to go in first. So if you block with the queen, you'll lose your queen in that regard. The king can try to run away. The problem with running away with the king is that, number one, from a practical perspective, you can't castle anymore. We're assuming that the white king has not moved and can still castle. So you forfeited your right to castle in the future. Also, this rook, the queen rook, is going to have problems getting into the game. So from a strategical standpoint, with the moves notwithstanding, moving the king is the last resort. Here it's not so good, maybe because now you've introduced this pin here on this diagonal. Maybe later the bishop can come once these pieces clear out. You're putting the rook on this open file that can be attacked now with more checks, etc. So I'm not sure if this is the best way forward. Strategically, it looks really bad. Let's just play a few moves just to see how this would play out if we just play some natural, normal moves. Maybe we could try taking the bishop on e3 with the knight with check. Obvious check sometimes is the obvious move to consider. Queen retakes now, seeming okay. Look, it's an equal exchange. But now we have this move here. Bishop h6 seems pretty strong, where bishop is defended by the queen. And also, once the queen moves out of the way, we have control of this diagonal now by the black pieces, which would make a rook to d8 move a little bit stronger, because now the king is going to be forced to move, or another pin to be introduced. And so the white pieces could just start getting really pinned up on each other, jumbled on each other. Let's try the queen, let's just see if the queen just retreats here onto the light squares, maybe in order to create some counterplay later. We can really create some tactics here with queen f4. It seems pretty natural. Now we're putting pressure on the d2 square, keeping the queen really at bay, so that way if the queen moves, we're just going to get an easy checkmate. We're also bringing in the double attack on the bishop on f3. So there's a lot of tactics here. And so this is going to be a big threat here for the black side. White would probably just bring in a rook and try to defend, but now we can shift the attack with rook to d8, and now the white pieces seem to be really jumbled up and having a hard time to defend, even if you get some knight blocking, because the king is running out of squares. Even if the knight were to block something like this, we could still now develop with tempo on this knight and connect our rooks and start bringing in more pieces to the attack. So a lot of ideas here. White would have to, in order to hold the center, would have to play a move like c4, which seems like it's defending. The problem though is that we're exposing our king and opening up more lines all over the place, and so the king is becoming less safe, even though for the moment being the center is holding. It's going to come under attack, and so of course this variation can continue and continue. So I'm going to go back and just leave it there for the moment, and just make sure that that I didn't miss anything here. It seems that the line that was given by the author would be the more natural line that's played over the board, or in a online rapid game or some of that nature. So let's go back, and I am just going to see just real quick, see if I missed anything here. Yeah, bishop f2 is the given line, so therefore any king move is going to be absolutely losing, even more so. So yeah, once the king goes to a move like a d1, then yeah, you're going to have that diagonal open up. This is exactly what the engine gives after it takes bishop to h6, and then it gives actually queen e1. The engine likes the queen coming back and offering the exchange, to which of course black declines with the queen f4 line. So there we go. I think that's good. I justified the lines here, and would probably, even if we were to go all the way back and analyze the king moving to like f1 or something, we're going to be same idea. We're actually moving f1 is going to introduce the pin that we just talked about in the main line. It's going to introduce it a lot sooner. So the same tactics are going to be there, and it's just going to be probably a little bit different sequence. The bishop's already going to be pinned, so the knight's going to be able to take on e3 with check right away, and then probably the bishop just comes right straight in for the attack. And you don't even need to bring the queen, but you could even bring in queen h3 ideas first, and then just start liquidating on f3. There's going to be a lot of pressure on this square. So let's just show the line really fast that this is not a really good solution for white. The bishop's going to play right to g4. Now this is going to be under pressure by the rook, and now the rook would come in first because we're going to get some pressure on this queen, lateral pressure, and actually it would force the exchange if the king stayed on f1. So the king's got to move right away. So forcing moves are the easiest to calculate. Okay, thank you so much. I'm going to leave it there and go on to the next problem. Thank you guys so much for watching. We'll see you on the next one.